Hey, good morning. I was just looking at the worksheet for today because I did not do it before I started the camera. Okay. All right. So let's look at section 9.4. We're going to go ahead and get ready to kind of finish up chapter 9. It's a pretty short chapter, so we're going to have this lesson and then one tomorrow, I think, and then or one more lesson. Then it'll be on and on. Okay, so let's look at section 9.4. So we've been spending a lot of time looking at the mechanics of simplifying expressions involving unknowns. Time to take a break from those mechanics. Basically, this entire lesson, which is not all that long at all, we're just looking at one lesson. We're going to be solving one problem that we're going to be solving. It's a real life type problem so that you can see how it goes. Now, I want you to note this little note right here. This problem that we're going to work on was actually adapted from a math book from the early 1900s. So, hey. All right. So, here's our example. At a local election, there were only two candidates, and 1,280 votes were cast. The winning candidate won by only 40 votes. How many votes were cast for each candidate? So it might look initially like we don't have enough information to answer that. We don't know how many votes, the total votes that were cast for either candidate. We've got two unknowns. The votes cast for the loser and the votes cast for the winner. The only information that we have is that the sum of the votes equals 1,280 and that the votes for the winner equals 40 more than the votes for the loser. So we could write it out like this. So this is our total equals votes for the loser plus votes for the winner. However, there were 40 more. Votes for the winner equals votes for the loser plus 40. If we use X to stand for the votes for the loser, we could describe the votes for the winner as X plus 40. This would give us the following. So votes for the loser is X. We don't know how many votes there were. That's what we got to find. Votes for the winner, we don't know how many there were, so we're going to use X plus 40. Okay, because it's going to be it's going to be how many the loser had plus 40 because the winner only won by 40 votes. Now, we know the total votes cast were 1,280. Since there were only two candidates, the votes for the loser plus the votes for the winner must equal 1,280. So let's write it out like this. 1,280 equals X, this is the loser, plus the winner, X plus 40. Okay, found a way to express a problem using one unknown. Notice you put parentheses around the X plus 40. Why? Because we know that the sum of X plus 40 represents the votes for the winner. So when we substitute X plus 40 for the votes for the winner, we used parentheses to show that we were replacing the votes for the winner with the sum of X plus 40. Now we can solve it. But this goes back to that lesson, the last lesson that we had. It's one of those where we just need to remove the parentheses. So we're left with X plus 40. Now, then you can combine like terms. We can skip this part here. So you remember this has a 1 in front of it, and this has a 1 in front of it. Remember, it's just understood to be that way. So we get 2X plus 40. And then I think you probably know what to do from there. Subtract 40 from both sides. We're left with 1240 equals 2X. Then divide both sides by 2 to find X. We're left with X is 620. Now remember, X represents the votes for the loser. So now we can find the vote for the winner by simply substituting the value we found. Remember, the votes for the winner was X plus 40. We know that X is 620, so that would mean that the votes for the winner were 660. Check your math, plugging in the numbers. Remember, votes for the winner equals votes for the loser plus 40. Add that, yes, that equals total votes, which was 1280, equals votes for the loser plus votes for the winner equals 1280. Either way, you plugged in the numbers and you got it. Just solved that problem, had 2 missing pieces of information. Just by looking at how those pieces related to each other, you were able to find 1 missing piece and then use it. Now this little section right here, this little gray box on this page, it tells you that there's another way you could have done that. You could have used X for the winner and X minus 40 for the loser if you wanted to. And you would work it the same way. You're just working with a subtraction problem. It's easier to me the way that they did it, but you would arrive at the same answer. So anyway, okay, so let's take a look at the page that we're going to do, 9.4. All right, so here we have earnings. You can use your calculator on this one. Okay, so you're going to be, you've got 1 through D. This is one big problem. Just work your way through. I'm not going to grade it. Oh, there are more than that. It goes through F. Okay, so the first part of the page, 1A through F, is all one problem. So just work it step by step. The same thing we just went through in the book. And then on 2, there's A, B, and C. And then on the back, you've got all the way through J. And I think I'll grade that skill sharpening because that's a lot of skill sharpening. So anyway, if you need any help on this page or you didn't understand what we just did, let me know and I'll be happy to help. Otherwise, that's all for today.
Yes!